Relics are a unique aspect of Ancient Inheritance, and let me just go over them, right? When you first log into Ancient Inheritance, you'll be faced with a choice of 3 starting relics. Don't fret this choice too much. You'll be able to replace these relics later, and none of them are game-breakingly good. Your options are going to be the Exploration Journal. The Exploration Journal will give you a 30% chance to get double XP using backpacks and tombstones, which can be infuriatingly RNG. It's theoretically the best for power leveling, because if you can power level your exploration, you will get more unit slots, you'll get more relics, you'll get more relic slots, you'll get more provisions to do more fights. Theoretically, it's the best, but there's RNG to it. You could just get 70% at every single time, and you never get the double XP, and it feels really, really bad. Or you could get lucky and you level up quickly. It's the one that I recommend you pick, unless you feel like you've got the worst RNG in the game. Next is the Wulf Gauntlet, which is really, really, really good on floor 1, and you'll probably ditch it by floor 2. Wulf Gauntlet has no RNG. It lets you fight stronger monsters so that you can easily level your elements faster. So it basically makes you considered 1 level higher than you actually are. So if you're level 1 and you fight a level 2 monster, it'll treat you like you're a level 2 team. But it only works if you fight monsters that are stronger than you. If you fight monsters that are the same level or weaker than you, it doesn't do anything. That's why you will probably ditch it by the time you're on floor 2, because you're going to be stronger than most everything anyway. Third choice is the Portable Telescope. This is an investment relic. It does nothing for you early game. It lets you look at spots on the map. Yay. Here's the thing though. Portable Telescope has insane synergy with a relic called Wanderer's Pipe, and it is one of the most valuable movement combinations. If you are a casual player and you don't want to put too much effort into Ancient Inheritance, ask your guild leader, tell your guild leader, hey, I want to be the cleanup crew. Don't expect me to go and do 1 million damage on the Wardens or Prongo. I'm going to hang back while the rest of the guild advances and climbs up to higher floors. I'll be back here teleporting around, getting all the guild chests, killing some mini bosses, getting all the loot, and doing all the wet work while the guild is progressing higher floors. I'll be the cleanup crew. Portable Telescope plus Wanderer's Pipe and some movement artifacts are great for that, and you can even pick up a relic that lets you donate provisions as well. So that's always an option for you. I don't recommend Portable Telescope for new players. It really is for somebody who understands the interaction between it and Wanderer's Pipe, is ready to do a special niche role and really milk that synergy for all it's worth. So newer players, stick with Wulf Gauntlet or Exploration Journal. Veterans who know what they're doing, Portable Telescope, just make sure you've got a reason to do it. Now, as you level up, you'll automatically get new random relics at levels 3, 5, 7, and 9. So you will get a new relic socket and a new relic to put into it. And it's all random out of the same pool. And if you get relics that you don't want, you can always go to relic shrines and swap them out for different relics. Again, random pool, but hopefully you find the relic you're looking for. Now, everybody loves tier lists, and people have asked me about this for every season, so let's go over a tier list for relics. So first, we're going to talk about Wanderer's Pipe. Wanderer's Pipe lets you teleport once per day to anywhere in the lit up area that you can see. You can teleport and jump over gaps, you can jump over monsters, you can go past barricades. It's really good for the cleanup crew guy that wants to go and get at guild chests, or for when you're just trying to get somewhere and you need you don't want to do a fight, you're just trying to move past something so you can save your provisions to go to another fight. Wanderer's Pipe's great for that, but it's a very limited range of teleport. We'll give it an A tier, but here's the thing. If you combine it with Telescope lets you see anywhere on the map, and Wanderer's Pipe will let you teleport to those spots. So as long as it's an explored area on the map, you can combine Wanderer's Pipe with Telescope, and you can go infinite distance from one corner of the map to the other once a day. And that's what makes that so huge for being able to, jump all over the place and get your guild chests. So it is S tier for movement when it is combined with Wanderer's Pipe. It's only like an A tier on its own for letting you, like, you know, leapfrog over monsters that maybe you don't have the element to fight, but they're blocking the path. Next is Eerie Dish. We're going to slap Eerie Dish in the C tier. It looks good on paper. It says it gives you 5 provisions when you kill a monster, but it's when you kill it. The last heart goes away. That means all the hearts have to go, and when you kill that last heart, you get 5 provisions back. So yeah, you fight a guy that's got 4 hearts over his head, you got to spend 20 provisions to get that 5 provision refund. It's a nice little bit of provision efficiency if you're fighting monsters that are already on their last heart, but really there's just better relics to pick. Okay, next we have Food Supply. Food Supply is for the casual member who wants to help but doesn't want to put in that much effort, right? Food Supply lets you gift 5 provisions to a fellow guildmate twice a day, and these provisions don't come out of your own provision stash, by the way. It just creates them out of thin air and gives them. You can't donate them to yourself. But you got a guy that's stuck over by the warden. He says, hey, I'm 2 provisions short of hitting the warden. You can gift him 5 and he can hit the warden for you. It's good for that guy who's on the cleanup crew, moving around collecting the guild chests. He can figure out who in the guild is struggling to finish hitting bosses, who's just, you know, like, I'm 5 steps away from hitting Prongo. If I had a provision donation, I could hit him twice. Well, fine, send you 2 provisions. Good to go. So we'll put it in the B tier because it's more of a parasocial add-me helping kind of a relic. It doesn't do your account any good, but it's nice for the guild. Now we got the 4-leaf clover. This one's a little all over the map, right? Because it's a 50-50 chance to proc. What this relic does is if you do a normal monster fight, at the end of the normal monster fight, it flips a coin, and if you win the coin toss, none of your units die, and you can literally hit the monster again with the exact same units. Still use the provisions, but it potentially gives you unlimited units, or it potentially does nothing at all because you land tails on the 50% coin flip. So it's C tier when it doesn't proc, and it's S tier when it does proc, so we'll just call it A tier because this is a really solid power leveling artifact as long as you're lucky. It's infuriatingly RNG though. Now we've got Sacred Charm. This one's a little bit underestimated and takes a bit of coordination. This is one that I only recommend for higher end guilds and higher end players. Sacred Charm increases your ability to hit boss monsters by 2. You see, wardens and floor bosses can only be hit twice per day per person. So if everybody in your guild hits a boss, that's 60 hits, sure, but twice per day by you. Unless you have Sacred Charm, in which case it's double. You can hit the boss 4 times. But here's the thing. After you've hit the boss twice, those units are deactivated for the rest of the day. So unless you have really, really good strategies, your 3rd and 4th hit probably aren't going to be super effective against the boss. So you may find that you do 1,000,000 points on your first fight and 1,000,000 points your second fight, and then your 3rd fight you do maybe a 500,000, and then your 4th fight you do 150,000. It was nice, it definitely helped out, but you just ran out of effective units to do the fight right because they all take specific tactics. I'm not a huge fan of Sacred Charm, but if you use the statues that resurrect your units well, and if you've got players who are donating you provisions, and you got top-end players that know what they're doing, this can be a really, really good artifact for high-end players that know how to min-max it and are supported by other players. Newer players, I'd recommend away from it. Okay, so now I'm going to get into a group of relics that we call the Tundra's Blessing relics. Tundra's Blessing is a special buff that you can get inside of Ancient Inheritance that is just a damage buff. Anytime you hear somebody say Tundra's Blessing, they're just saying damage buff. Okay. Tundra's Blessing buff comes in 3 levels. Tundra's Blessing 1 gives you 15% damage boost, 2 gives you 30% damage boost, and Tundra's Blessing 3 gives you 50% damage boost. Broken Arrow is the first of the Tundra's Blessing artifacts, and it's pretty solid. It gives you +1 Tundra's Blessing when you have 3 or more classes on the team. Warrior, Ranger, Thief. Soul Weaver, Knight, Mage. As long as it's 3 classes. And that's good because it still lets you be mono element, and most of the boss fights you need to be a mono element. It doesn't help out so much for normal monster fights where you're only wanting to take 1 or 2 units at a time. It doesn't do anything there. But for boss fightings, getting that extra 15% damage is kind of nice. A tier. We'll stick this firmly in the A tier because it makes you a much more efficient boss killer. Snakehead Figurine. This is our first S tier relic. This thing is Pog. It gives you +2 Tundra Blessing, an immediate 30% damage boost. +2 Tundra Blessing anytime you use an object before a fight. So, open a backpack, +2 Tundra's Blessing, do a fight. Tundra's Blessing gone, go open a treasure chest. Tundra's Blessing back, do a fight. Find a barricade, hit a barricade. Barricades are considered objects. You interact with it, +2 Tundra's Blessing, go do a fight. So this is huge for giving yourself 30% extra damage, especially in the Prongo fights, the boss fights where you can fight the boss with the Tundra's Blessing, then you go and use the Resurrection Shrine, get your units back, and get your Tundra's Blessing restored, and then go fight the boss again. Now we got Akir's Tome. Akir's Tome is basically just a crappier version of Broken Arrow. It's not so good when you're fighting bosses because it gives you +1 Tundra's Blessing when you have 2 or more elements on the same team. And that's a little rough for boss fights because boss fights you almost always want to be mono element if possible. It does make farming mobs a little bit easier, but mobs are already pretty easy to fight, so I'm going to slap this in the C tier. I think you only use it if there's no other options, right? And now let's talk about the movement classes of relics. Movement relics get better and better the more of them you have. First, let's talk about the best relic in the entire game, Bronze Ring. Bronze Ring lets you interact with any object within your mobility range without having to move next to it. This yellow highlighted field, that's my mobility range. With this ring, you will be able to grab that chest, fight that monster, click on that shrine, all without moving to them. And that is a huge savings and provisions. If it's in your range, you can use it. S tier with a bullet. Next is Vitality Brew. Vitality Brew increases that movement range envelope by 1, which on its own would be C tier, but when combined with Bronze Ring, makes it a hard S tier. Now you can see even further. You can touch things even further away without walking over to it. Crazy good. And last is Wooden Doll. Wooden Doll changes your movement from walking to teleporting. Teleporting takes 2 provisions. So if you teleport 1 space, it takes 2 provisions. Worse, right? But when your movement range gets bigger as you go up in levels, when your movement range gets bigger because of Vitality Brew, now you can teleport even further for 2 provisions. Your bubble can get so big at higher levels with Vitality Brew that you can teleport 4 to 5 spaces for 2 provisions, more than doubling your mobility range on provisions. So on its own, it's an A tier. But with Vitality Brew, it's an S tier relic. Now, finally, for the power leveling enthusiasts, there's a special combination of relics that takes your farming to the next level. I'm going to lay this down for you and really screw your ears on straight because you guys are going to love this. Conqueror's Flag and Ancient Shield. They both kind of do the same thing, and they both stack. When you defeat a monster with Conqueror's Flag, you kill an additional heart. When you defeat a monster with Ancient Shield using 3 or fewer heroes, which you always do, right? You're always taking 1 or 2 heroes to fight normal monsters, you kill an extra heart. Together, you kill 2 extra hearts. Here's the thing. You get the experience from those hearts, and the gold. So in one fight, you will get double if you have 1, or triple if you have both XP and gold. And currency. And here's the best part. Let's say the monster only has 1 heart left, and you kill that 1 heart while you still have the relic. You will still get double XP or triple XP if you have both relics for the fight. So, on floors 2 and 3, where enemies have 4 hearts, your first attack will kill the first 3 hearts, give you triple XP and triple loot. And then your second attack will kill that last heart and give you triple XP and triple loot. Max level, here you come. You're getting 6 attacks worth of XP from only 2 attacks, only 2 unit usages, only 2 provision uses. It is an insane way to boost your levels and ramp it all the way up. The more people who exploit this, the more people in your guild who will be able to clear floors and crush enemies. And you'll, as soon as you get the +9 in your 2 primary elements, you can ditch Conqueror's Flag and Ancient Shield and change them out for Movement Relics or Tundra's Blessing Relics and be a machine of murder.